Well, good morning to all my friends and subscribers. Hope everybody's doing great today. Beautiful Saturday. Storms all around me, but looks like every one of them are going to miss my area, so get a little bit of riding in today. I'd like to talk a little bit about a subject that Buddy Christ and Vanzel have been talking about. They thought it would be a good idea to start using our video logs as conversations between a group of us, and hopefully other people will join in. I like that idea, so I'll take up their subject. They were talking about trophy hunting. Now, as far as just hunting in general, I think it's absolutely fine. It's not really for me that much. Not because I really object to hunting, but it's a cold weather sport, and cold weather, I don't care for it. I like hot weather or warm weather. So any kind of cold weather sport of any kind, although also the other term that they use for it is sport too. I always, in my own mind, I couldn't think of hunting as much of a sport. It's, if you hunt, still not speaking of trophy hunting, but if you hunt, it's not really a sport. It's harvesting meat is what it is. And I can't say that I mind that part of it. As a matter of fact, although I don't work on so many people's computers anymore like I used to, because now I'm working on mostly construction stuff, there are still a few people I take care of their computers for them. And one of the people actually pays me in deer meat, which I think I get a hell of a lot more money out of the deal, really, when you consider the price of meat. I think him paying me in deer meat, I get a much better deal than if he paid me cash, so I kind of like that deal he has going. But anyway, back to the subject of hunting. No, not really in my mind even a sport, even in the regular kind of hunting. Now, trophy hunting, there's a lot of things I have a problem with in trophy hunting, just going to try to score the biggest or the strongest animal or anything like that, because in a group of animals, if you're going to use the argument for hunting that you're improving the herd or the group of animals or whatever you're hunting, then you certainly don't want to be taking out the stronger members, the bigger members, the ones that actually would improve the group of animals. So from that perspective, plus calling anything like that, hunting or trophy hunting, a sport when you can sit back like 200 yards or better, and if you're even a halfway decent shot, I don't really shoot high-powered rifle that often. I do shoot it from time to time, but it's not really too difficult to become very good at 200 yards to where you could pretty much keep your rounds in about a 3-inch, 4-inch circle without really even a huge amount of practice. So to sit back at 200 yards and take an animal down the size of, especially animals the size of like a deer or anything that general size, isn't really too much of a sport. I think it was Vanzel that was also talking about the argument. It might have been Buddy Christ, but I think they were also talking about the argument too of just hunting in general can improve the herd. I thought at first that was a pretty bad argument, but I guess it does have some points. I mean, if you do, well, I don't, but if, like some of my friends, if they hunt with rifles and at least do enough stalking to get in range where, say, the animal could even see you from far off, I suppose the animals that were more wary of human presence, you would probably never even get close enough to even see them or have them maybe see you. So maybe you could argue too, and I thought, well, people haven't been hunting that long with guns, but overall I guess people have been hunting deer and things like that for probably thousands of years, just not with guns. So I imagine as we've improved our hunting techniques, there probably have been portions of populations of animals such as deer that probably have improved at least a little bit. I still wouldn't consider it the strongest argument, but because you'll never really know. I mean, how will you ever know those animals that you never get close enough to even see? How will you know whether it's only theoretically that they exist or not anyway? Maybe they exist, maybe they don't, but if there are, they'd be some pretty dang smart deer. And as far as the best argument I have really for the reason why I like deer meat over most other meats too, or any kind of a wild game type of meat too, is I don't like the fact that nowadays the way they raise animals in captivity, I mean, not that everybody's cruel to them, even some of my relatives down south raise animals to be sold to market, but I don't like the fact that they're given so many shots, so many hormones, injections, stuff like that, whereas if you're eating deer meat, you know you're pretty much eating meat from an animal that's pretty much had their own diet to select. And maybe some of you younger people don't realize it too, but if you've had a chance, especially a lot of older people that have relatives that used to own farms, or maybe some of you have relatives that still own farms, you eat meat from a chicken that you buy in the store, and then you go to a farm and you eat a scratch-fed chicken, we used to call it. They'd be chickens that they'd eat some scraps you'd throw out, but they'd also range themselves. They'd be able to, well, for example, when I was a kid, we had a 200-acre farm for a little while, and we let our Banty chickens go out and we just let them loose, and they just come back to the chicken coop at the end of the day, so they could pretty much eat whatever they felt like, bugs and grain and whatever naturally chickens eat. And even the eggs we got from those chickens tasted, I can still even to this day remember how much the eggs tasted better than the eggs you get nowadays. I mean, I do like eggs, I do like chicken, even chicken you buy in the store, but there is nothing like a range chicken. If you've ever eaten a fresh killed range chicken, or if you've ever eaten eggs from a bird that had the ability to just eat whatever it felt like whenever it felt like it, and not like force-fed or anything like that. It's all the difference in the world. But, well, I've been going all over the place and still not really talking about trophy hunting that much, but just talking about hunting in general and animals. But trophy, I don't think I really see the point to sticking an animal up on your wall and saying, you know, besides the fact just that you probably hurt the survival of the very animal that you really like to hunt by taking out the best animal, just putting it up on the wall and saying, big deal, look what I did. I don't really feel it would be anything I'd be really liking to brag about. I mean, brag about the fact that I sat around and waited for the animal to wander within 200 yards and shot him, or even if you stalk the animal, it's not like much of a sport to the animal. I mean, the animal only stands one chance. That's if they get away, and if they're not lucky enough to get away, you pretty much shot them and they're dead. So I would use the word for any kind of hunting myself, I would use it as a hobby. I would call it a hobby. But anyway, anything you guys didn't understand, I guess we can I could either make another video or we could discuss it in the comments, because riding around on the motorcycle, I don't always string my thoughts together in the clearest way every time. But that's fine. I'd like to see some other people, even non-bikers, in the conversation too. Some of my friends that watch that are not bikers even join in, and even people that are totally against hunting. I mean, I think that's kind of like the point of what Van Zyl, Buddy Christ, and I were kind of looking for in our conversation. Get somebody that's just totally different than us, that just absolutely doesn't believe in hunting, doesn't want hunting to even take place, totally against it. That's fine. I'd like to hear other people